Pros bring something extra to every job. Now at the Home Depot, they also get something extra. Pro Extra, our free loyalty program built for pros just like you. Members earn perks with every dollar spent, like Pro Extra Dollars, a tool rental credit, and more. New members get $20 off their next in-store purchase of $200 or more just for signing up. Learn more at homedepot.com/Pro Extra. New year, more rewards, Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Check out the Weedsman Podcast, Tuesdays and Fridays on iTunes and ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media, let's make some noise.
So shall we just do this?
Let's do it.
We can just jump right into
like
it.
Like freeform jazz?
Yeah, that's right.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan, it's Unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
139, correct?
That sounds right.
Yeah, so sure. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Rich.
And I'm Eric.
Yeah, Eric joining us today.
Eric, a new addition. Welcome to Unregimented.
Well, thank you, guys. I'm really enjoying it so far.
That's right. For 10 minutes.
139. That sounds like a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest working podcasts out there.
Hardest working podcasts.
Can I say that?
In this room.
Can I say that we're hard working?
Yeah. I don't know. Apparently you can't now. It's racist.
Rich, have you heard this story from Melissa Harris Perry from MSNBC?
Relation to Katy Perry?
Yeah, no relation actually. She
not even in the chesticles department.
Yeah. She took an exception to the term hardworking, talking about something totally different. She was talking to Greta Van Susteren about Paul Ryan and the GOP backing of him as House Speaker, and said that he's a good choice because he's one of the hardest working politicians out there. And she said, I just want to be careful about how we use the term hardworking. I have a picture of slaves in my office to remind me what hard work really looks like.
Well, he's also very well spoken, so.
What? He speaks so well.
Ryan is a catfish noodler.
Well,
which is basically the same thing, right? It means you go catch the catfish with your hands.
Right.
And I think that's basically the same thing as trying to wrangle the current Republican Party.
But let's be fair. If there's somebody who is a hard worker, when he goes to Washington, is Paul Ryan.
Is this what you...
Yes. Republicans, but Democrats. You know very well that I work on the immigration issue, trying to get Republicans to support immigration reform.
A real buzzkill.
Paul Ryan is somebody who has supported
I had read it was
in
an interview.
Has worked with somebody like Luis Gutierrez. Luis Gutierrez is very respectful, speaks highly of Paul Ryan. This is somebody who's trying to govern.
Alfonso, I feel you, but I just want to pause on one thing, because I don't disagree with you that I actually think Mr. Ryan is a great choice for this role. But I want us to be super careful when we use the language hard worker, because I actually keep an image of folks working in cotton fields on my office wall, because it is a reminder
I do that too.
of what hard work looks like. So I feel you that he's a hard worker.
She knows what hard work looks
but
like.
in the context of relative privilege, and I just want to point out that when you talk about work-life balance and being a hard worker,
I think she's just trying to tell people that she has pictures of slaves on her wall.
I understand that.
But we don't call them hard workers. We call them failures. We call them people who are sucking off the system. No, really, y'all do. That is really what you guys do as a party.
That is very unfair.
Right. I don't understand why she brought up the picture of slavery. It seemed like her point was, you want to point out some hard workers in the Republican Party, but everybody, these people who are unemployed, an unemployed person isn't a hard worker.
No, that's the complete opposite.
Right. And no doubt, like a mother who chooses to stay home and take care of her kids is a hard worker, even if she doesn't have a job. But I think she was more referring to as to working mothers who get government support. She was trying to make the point that, you want to talk about hard workers, what are all these people that you call leeches on society that are just soaking up tax dollars with these there's a term here for privileged programs, welfare and tax subsidized childcare and all that shit. Yeah. But whatever. She's a lunatic.
Oh, totally.
They were talking about something totally different, and something popped into her head, And she's just like, this is my show. I'm going to run with it.
I want a picture of her office before she said that. I want to see if that shit's on the wall. I really do. Because I highly fucking... It is now. You know it is now. But I highly doubt it was before.
As soon as she got off, she grabbed her assistant and was like, put that picture up.
Oh, no. Her assistants were watching, and they started texting, someone find some fucking slaves now.
No, it's actually a picture of Laura Burton reading Rainbow on her wall. She got confused.
You see the next day somebody's like took a bunch of photocopies and pasted it together
Race car
and framed that.
I think it would be really important if we kind of describe for the people at home her wardrobe, what she's wearing, like her whole blazer and shirt combo that she has.
Why was it remarkable?
It wasn't. That's kind of I just want a visual.
She didn't look like she was working hard.
No, she didn't at all. She looked
not
like
working hard like we do here in at MSNBC.
The pink and red combo isn't working for her.
I would like to point out to find that
Fashion
clip.
Police.
I had to type
Looks
in
like-
hard-working racist Ryan into Google. And it was the first thing that came up.
Well, did you see the story that I sent to the unregimented?
Unregimented?
Unregimented. I renamed the show. It was a short list of 4 times that MHP has actually used the term hardworking or hard work to describe things that had nothing to do with slavery or single mothers. So this isn't even like a pet issue of hers.
Did you say it
on
in
this
front of
train.
the painting of people in the cotton fields?
This isn't even like a pet issue of hers. This is just like something that popped into her head.
February 21st, Sheriff Perry tells NBC correspondent Carrie Sanders during her coverage of a blizzard that she was doing the hard work today while the rest of us are warm and toasty right here in 30 Rock.
Working.
But enjoy
like
the
a
ice
slave
sculptures.
out in the field, just like on my wall.
September 6th. What I don't want to miss is that policing is in fact actually hard work, and there are things that make policing more dangerous or less dangerous job, Harris Perry says.
And it goes on. Yeah, she uses the term hard work with impunity.
And it sounds like to me, like, I don't know if you guys have ever had this happen to you before, but you ever like say like, oh man, that really hurts, or like getting kicked in the gones really hurts, and some woman's like, hey, you've never known pain until you've had a baby. And even if they haven't had a baby, which I highly doubt she has, been directly involved in any slavery at all, she can still use that as a comparison. So
this is narrow-minded thinking that the person can't see outside their own experience.
You want some narrow-minded thinking right now?
What's up?
Am I the only one thinking she's trying awfully hard not to look black?
Oh, come on.
Well, she's not hot at all. So I think we should
look how she has her hair done.
You guys are both assholes. And no, I can't agree with either one of those sentiments. She doesn't. Her hair is braided. She doesn't look like
she's a small, tiny braid, so it looks like straight hair.
So Aaron is attracted to her. I just want you guys to...
I think she is a very handsome woman.
Handsome is the term. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I was reading... There was a comic book that came out today. One of the comic books that I picked up was...
We're just switching gears.
No, I'm not switching gears. I know how to segue. Just hold on a second.
Oh, gotcha.
All right.
You're in for a ride. So Grayson is the comic book that we're going to talk about for a second here, and just quick history on this. Grayson, as in Dick Grayson, as in Robin, who also used to be Nightwing, who also used to be Batman, who also used to be dead.
There's a lot there.
But that's every superhero used to be dead at some point, so that really doesn't narrow it down that he does it.
He's had a busy story arc.
Right.
There'll be a quiz later.
Well, this is one of my favorite Batman family books at the moment because this is Dick Grayson as a super secret spy. It's not him dressing up in costumes and beating people up with nunchucks that aren't attached. It's a lot of kind of more 007 type of shit.
Oh.
But instead of a lot of skimpy outfits on big-breasted chicks and him like scoring a lot, it's actually Grayson himself who's the one who's often objectified. Usually it's comments about his butt.
Oh.
But in this latest issue, it opens up with him coming back to a spy organization after going rogue. I'll show you a little picture here, but Rich, you'll have to imagine what Dick Grayson looks like naked.
Sure.
That is naked Grayson.
Right, so he's splayed out.
You can see his Robin.
Yeah, he's completely naked.
You see his hood?
Well, there's some screen covering his crotch, but he's completely naked, and he's being inspected by a doctor who seems like she's enjoying her job a little bit too much. She's crouched down in front of him. She's at Dick level, whistling and enjoying herself quite a bit.
With Dick Grayson, aren't you always at Dick level?
And
see what I did there?
Right. So now, granted, this is just like a handful of people on Twitter, which is all it takes to make a story now.
Yeah.
There was one Twitter user in particular who started tweeting to Tim Seeley, who is one of the writers of this book, basically berating him because he took what should have been a horrible experience, which is being forced strip naked and be examined unwillingly. He didn't want to do this, but, it's just part of the gig, I guess. Take that concept and poke fun at it.
Right.
There's a couple off color comments that the doctor is making about him. I mean, he's the perfect specimen of man. He's perfectly cut. He's also drawn, so it's easy for him. But her beef was that she had apparently undergone something similar, some sort of sexual degradation or molestation.
Look at his dick. Well, it sounds like what she's doing.
And had to tweet all about it and directly towards the author Tim Seeley about how insensitive he was.
Oh my gosh.
That he would portray such a horrible experience so lightheartedly.
Everybody here has had a prostate exam, right? I mean, it's like a natural part of life.
I haven't had one yet.
You've never had? Well, you're. Do you want one?
If you're offering, I mean,
you get a cookie afterwards.
What's your rate?
But that's a very organic thing to go over in a comic book story. I mean, it's something that people go through. It's very natural. I don't see enough of Batman taking a dump or anything. I'd like to see that.
Well, yeah, I can't agree with you on the Batman taking a dump thing.
By the way, there are no toilets on the Starship Enterprise.
Wow.
I know. I actually talked to Jonathan Frakes about that last time I was at the Star Trek convention.
They poop into those little food generators, don't they?
He was saying the way he envisioned it is they would transport it out of your colon.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Scotty, I got to take a massive dump.
Well, that thing
this one up.
Like Next Generation, where they just have the little indent in the wall that beams shoot down and it makes food, right?
They have an opposite.
I imagine.
One.
Yeah, they have right. They have a little slot that they poop into, and it just goes bzzz and makes it disappear, and then it reappears later as food.
Yeah, all the excrement goes directly to Deep Space Nine. They get beams right there.
Drunk and shit into transporters. Beam them into people's rooms that they're trying to get back at or fuck with people.
Well, that allows me to segue into two stories. Three, actually. I don't even know where to start now.
Uh-oh.
But all right. Well, you brought up Star Trek.
Wait, while we're talking about the black and white, the racial, before we get off it.
We weren't talking about race.
We weren't. Yeah, that was it.
With the hardworking, we were.
That wasn't she used race as a wedge to get her point across, but she wasn't talking about race. She was talking about class.
Right, yeah.
But I would say I got profiled today. While listening to a story about Adam Carolla getting profiled, I got profiled today.
How did you get profiled?
I stopped for gas at Van Dyke and Harper-ish.
Ooh.
Yeah. Or no, Van Dyke and Gratiot. Pardon me. I was on Gratiot at this point.
All right.
But I stopped to get gas, and on the way in, guys tried to start... Guys hanging out front. Wasn't a homeless guy, just the guys hanging out front. That's how it goes down in the hood. Starts to ask me something, but I was close to the door, so I got to act like I didn't hear him. Go in, pay, come back out, catch me on my way out, goes, hey, do you have 50 cents? No, I don't have any physical money on me. All right, fine, whatever. I proceed while I'm pumping my gas.
He's like, I take charge. Whips out his iPhone.
Right.
He bends over and lets you swipe it.
I got the square.
Yeah.
But I'm pumping my gas, and I watch, and I even sit a little after I pump my gas and watch too. Did not ask one brother or sister, hey, do you got 50 cents? I was the only person that he asked for 50 cents.
Maybe he didn't.
I'm just saying that. I'm saying that. That's
you got profiled as likely to have money.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Or no, not even likely to have money is maybe. This way I look at it. Maybe it's Whitey. He'll be scared. Maybe some white guild will kick in and give me. Maybe it's a white guy. He don't belong down here. I'll ask him 50 cents. See if I get 50 cents.
Dude, the homeless probably profile more hardcore than anybody.
This guy wasn't homeless. The way this guy was dressed, he was not homeless. He's just hanging out.
He was just looking for people with lighter skin than him to ask for money.
I don't know, but you all know. You go down in the hood, there's always brothers just hanging out.
Maybe that's an actual job in the hood.
just hanging out.
He's got to pay taxes on that 50 cents.
So now that we came back around to this, how are we going to segue into outer space?
Yeah.
We got to figure out how to do that.
Well, let's talk.
Did I just do it?
Nope.
Oh, dang.
Because we're going to talk about prostate exams. No.
Oh, okay.
Not really. But I do have to have mine checked at some point.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
This is a request.
I've got a guy, man.
Tonight?
I turned 40. It doesn't have to be tonight, but, the pressure is starting to mount. Especially
the pressure, that's the first...
that's the first sign.
That's the first sign right there.
Not the literal pressure.
Okay. How's your stream?
The stream's good. Nice and ropey.
Cool. Don't cross the streams.
No, it's not prostate exams per se, but it just reminded me that I need to get one because have you guys read about this UN report? Or UN agency links hot dogs and other processed meat to cancer.
Oh, yeah, that's old school, man.
Right.
Yeah,
but
bacon, sausage.
Carcinogens.
Didn't we know this 30 years ago?
Oh, some of my favorites.
Well, this is...
I know bacon, the internet mourns.
We had our suspicions, and this is a more extensive study that actually confirmed that. And the fact that this is a UN agency doing this, that could actually dictate policy for whatever country chooses to listen to the UN. I don't know who that is anymore. But yeah, the WHO's International Agency for Research on Cancer in France, after analyzing decades of research, decided that processed meats should be in the same category as cigarettes or asbestos.
Neat.
So are they going to send in like cleanup crews after you eat lots of meat like they do with asbestos? Guys in suits and stuff. You just ate White Castle.
I don't.
You might need a cleanup crew for that.
You got to put the hazmat suit on and take a dump.
Oh heck yeah! I wonder what that does. I mean, is it before it's
just
processed?
Shit in the suit?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's got a tube that would come out of it.
Oh man!
What if I want to shit in the suit?
Well, I know what it sounds like, but it doesn't mean that inhaling shit from processed meats will give you cancer.
Maybe it's the antidote.
No, they're just saying as far as something that could accelerate cancer, or cancer is more likely to happen in people who eat more processed meats, and possibly even just red meat in general.
Yeah.
They did kind of extend that, too.
I heard the other day 2 out of every 100 hot dogs has human DNA in it.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, man.
Every second hot dog?
DNA is everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably DNA all over this room right now.
I eat hot dogs. I ate a couple hot dogs earlier this week. I do not give a shit. But I do try and balance my diet somewhat. I'm not a red meat every day for every meal guy either.
It's people.
But
Soylent Green is made out of people.
It's a processed meats.
You gotta tell him.
Tell him.
Is people.
Tell him, Chuck.
Wow.
Yes, not just hot dogs though. This is like processed lunch meats, and I'd imagine sausages too. Mm-hmm. Those Johnsonville brats. Any tubular shaped meat.
I wonder, is it once it's created into a tubular shape that it disabsorbs carcinogens, or what happens? Like
my colon
is there something
mourns
with the shape that makes it?
Man, I think if we knew the answer to that, we would be able to cure cancer already.
Oh my gosh!
Right now, we're just trying to keep the fingertips out of the meat, out of the hot dogs.
Just the tip, right? Just the
tips.
An analysis of 10 of the studies suggested that a 50-gram portion of processed meat daily, or about 1.75 ounces, increases the risk of colorectal cancer over a lifetime by about 18%.
That's the problem. And
that's
wrecking itself on the way out, man.
And 1.75 ounces, that's your average hot dog right there. So if you eat a hot dog a day, your chances of dying of butthole cancer increases by 18%.
Dead ass cancer?
That goes for bacon, too.
Bacon's pretty good.
I guess bacon has like the nitrates and shit in it.
Yeah.
And they process it so that they can sell it more efficiently, I guess. But doesn't it seem like something that, while we know it's not exactly the best food for you, it looks like it's just shaved right off the pig?
Yeah, it looks very natural.
Right. It really doesn't look processed that much, does
No.
it? They're like complimenting it. Bacon. Like, you don't even look like you had work done.
You're a handsome.
You look so natural. You can't even see the nitrates.
You glow.
Wait a minute. Lisa, honey, are you saying you're never going to eat any animal again? What about bacon?
No.
Ham?
No.
Pork chop?
Dad, those all come from the same animal.
Oh, yeah, right. He's a wonderful, magical animal.
Thank you for listening, liking, and sharing Unregimented on Facebook and following Unregimented on Twitter at UnregimentedPod. If you like Unregimented, please tell a friend to visit ChristopherMedia.net. You can subscribe to Unregimented on iTunes for free just by clicking through the iTunes banner at ChristopherMedia.net. You can also show your support for Unregimented when you buy something on iTunes just by clicking through the iTunes banner at ChristopherMedia.net. It won't cost you anything extra, and it shows your support for Unregimented. While you're on iTunes, please remember to write a review and rate Unregimented 5 stars. Just click on the iTunes banner at ChristopherMedia.net. Android users can listen to Unregimented for free at ChristopherMedia.net by clicking on the Stitcher radio player on our homepage. You can also listen to Unregimented for free at TuneIn.com or by downloading their free TuneIn radio app. Don't forget, you can always listen to Unregimented for free across any platform just by going to ChristopherMedia.net. Make sure to check out all of the podcasts on ChristopherMedia.net. Mondays and Fridays, you have Unregimented. Reach us at UnregimentedPod on Twitter. Tuesdays and Fridays, you have the Weedsman Podcast. Find those guys at the Weedsman420 on Twitter. Wednesday, you have the Projection Booth, projection-booth.com, or at Pro Boothcast on Twitter. Saturday, you have the Captain's Table at Captain's Podcast on Twitter. You can also check out one of our new shows, well, new to us. It's the Ugly Club Podcast. It's another movie podcast, but these guys go with more of a theme each week rather than just one movie. You can check them out at Ugly Club Podcast on Twitter or uglyclubpodcast.com. If you like Unregimented and want to show your support for Unregimented, you can donate to Christopher Media by clicking through the PayPal button at ChristopherMedia.net. If you use Amazon.com, please click through the Amazon banner at ChristopherMedia.net and bookmark the link. It won't cost you anything extra, and when you buy something, you will show your support for Unregimented. If you're looking to launch your own website, please click through the HostGator banner at ChristopherMedia.net. That's who we use to host Unregimented. When you sign up for HostGator by clicking through the banner at ChristopherMedia.net, you are helping to support Unregimented.
We're coming very close to Halloween.
Yeah.
And we've got some spooky news.
Oh, it will be Halloween tomorrow when this is posted.
That's right. And when you listen to this, tomorrow will be today.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
There's a mystery piece of junk that is currently orbiting the moon, and scientists who have been watching this this unidentified orbiting object estimate that it'll land on Earth on Friday the 13th. I think it's Jason.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, he's in space.
Yeah. I mean, didn't Jason go into space?
Yeah, he did. And
right.
He killed a bunch of teenagers. And then
close to the point.
Oh, and he killed a bunch of teenagers.
Right.
Yeah.
So what? I didn't see that one. Did he get?
This isn't scary.
I'm just saying, if he got ejected out into space at the end of that movie, then he could be flying around the moon right now. And just waiting for an opportune moment to drop down onto Earth and wreak havoc again. And what better day than Friday the 13th? That is his MO, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you know this, but did you hear about the crazy... They're thinking it's a extraterrestrial object that's orbiting around a star. The Kepler telescope found it. They think it might be some sort of structure like a Death Star or something.
Yeah, like I told you, it's the thing that they said that's not emitting the same energy of the things that are around it.
It's right. I guess it's pretty creepy too. That has to do.
Well, they found oxygen coming off of a comet.
Yeah,
which is another thing that totally baffles them. Like, there is just as much as our knowledge has vastly increased in recent times about what's going on in the rest of the universe.
Yeah,
we don't know jack shit.
Oh no, yeah. We're seeing everything from our perspective, which is very, very small. I hope
very
it's
small and 3-dimensional. But if you're worried about actually being struck by this object or Jason,
it's gonna land in Camp Crystal Lake, so we'll be all right.
Just don't go camping that weekend. No, it's gonna. I think it was like somewhere in the middle of the Indian Ocean or some shit. Yeah, off the southern tip of Sri Lanka.
That's from the Kepler.
Yeah,
it's audio.
Nice.
So this scientist that was interviewed here says, I would not necessarily want to be going fishing directly underneath it.
Why is that, scientist?
Because it's falling to Earth with a machete and a hockey mask.
Wow, I like it. Maybe it's the head of Walt Disney, the frozen head of Walt Disney.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, it's Dr. Evil, isn't it?
I like it.
A 20-year-old reference.
Makes you feel old, doesn't it?
Someone asked me my age today. I'm officially to the point where I have to sit there and think, like 36. Yeah.
When you start to forget your age, it's all over, man. It's downhill from there. I don't know. How old am I? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Man? It's crazy, man.
I don't know. Every few years, I got to renew my driver's license or I'll get arrested.
Ooh. They're playing Ghostbusters at Imagine Theater over the next 4 days. And guess who's going to be there? Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, signing autographs. So if you guys want to go see Ghostbusters up until Halloween, he will be there. He said he's wearing the outfit, too. He will be wearing his Ghostbusters flight suit. Sans Proton Pack. But he said if you bring one, he will sign one.
So he'll be working hard then.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. He will be working hard.
He's the hardest working Ghostbuster.
I do have a photo of Ernie Hudson in my office wherever I have to know comparison of working hard. So
I have. You ever seen? There's a picture of him at like some convention, and he's standing in front of a picture of himself.
Yeah,
and he's kind of leaned over. And both him and the picture of himself behind him are smiling, and the way the person took the picture, whether it was intentional or not, really looks like Ernie Hudson fucking Ernie Hudson. That's brilliant.
I want to go with an 8x10 of him as his character as the warden from Oz and have him sign that. Just completely act like I don't even know what Ghostbusters is.
He was in Oz?
No, you were in Oz.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He was the warden.
Aaron,
just go and hand him the picture. Be like, big fan of that sex. Those sex scenes in Oz, bud.
Right? Will you sign my nightstick?
Yes. Here, sign my shank. Here you go. Thank you.
Oh man.
Oh well, apparently Kristen Wiig who is in the new Ghostbusters film, which has wrapped up production recently, was really bummed out over the backlash from the new Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah.
And obviously, okay, so you put all chicks in the role.
Right.
Well, we saw what happened when you got rid of all the white people in Star Wars, apparently, even though there still are.
Yeah.
But people were just fucking outraged. So, of course, they're going to cause a stink when...
I kind of understand this in a way because, I mean, the reason why I loved Ghostbusters so much growing up is because I inserted myself in the role. I was Peter Venkman.
Right.
So it's kind of like when I watch...
has an opportunity to do that.
It's kind of like watching porn. You know what I mean? Like, I can't insert myself in that role, so it's not exciting to me.
Well, she says, the fact that there was so much controversy because we were women was surprising to me. Really, have you not been on the internet until recently?
Yeah. No,
some people said some really nice things about the fact that they were women. It didn't make me mad. It just really bummed. Did I say that right? Some people said some really not nice things.
Right.
About the fact that there were women. It didn't make me mad. It just bummed me out. We're really honoring those movies. Well, I think it's up to the fans to decide whether you're honoring the movie or not.
Right.
We will decide with our dollars.
I think the mistake that they made, the thing that I didn't like about it is it is a hard reboot, if you guys have read about that. So it's not like there was some scripts floating around online originally that, they were going to be passing the torch from the old Ghostbusters to the new Ghostbusters, but those scripts were thrown out. They didn't do that. Right. He decided, who was the director again? What was his name?
Paul Feig.
Paul
Feig. He's the one who did. I don't know if you guys saw Inner Space.
Oh, sure.
It was amazing. I loved it. Yeah. If he does it in that style, I'll like it no matter what. But to me, it's still not going to be the Ghostbusters because what you're doing is you're.
What do you mean hard reboot? Like they're pretending it didn't exist before?
Oh yeah, this universe is a whole new universe.
Right.
What?
Yeah. So it's not. Oh. So there's no Dan Aykroyd. There's no.
Yeah, there never was a Ghostbusters.
I got one foot off the train already.
If there were female Ghostbusters and still the original Ghostbusters existed in the universe, I'd be fine with that. It would be a whole new,
Right. They're pretending like
chapter.
This is a whole brand new idea.
No, the Ghostbusters were invented by women now, okay? So that's...
I already got one foot off of this train.
Like I said before, I cannot insert myself into this position to enjoy it.
Well, we heard that they're going to start production, or at least start casting soon, for Die Hard 6. Yeah. And they've been talking about doing this for a long time, because anybody who's had any kind of franchise that's lasted past like 2 movies is now like, oh, we can just keep going. They're realizing there's no limit. Oh, they're on Fast and Furious 7? Well, why are we only on Die Hard 5? So Die Hard 6 has to be made, and there's a big question of how are we going to do this, right? Yeah. Is it going to be Bruce Willis? Well, how could it not fucking be Bruce Willis?
Well, yeah.
Well, what they're doing instead is bringing Bruce Willis in
Heat him up.
to essentially set up a flashback story of somebody playing a younger version of his character. And kind of, I guess, this younger version becomes this, super cop diehard character,
right?
Which is totally contrary because that's what we saw in the first movie.
The first movie is when that was created,
right? We saw him go from just getting divorced, dad, and
losing it,
and kind of a down on his luck cop.
We saw him die hard.
Yeah, that's right.
And it kind of reminds me of, I was kind of taken off when I heard they were making a new Mad Max when they made Fury Road.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
But that's how it should be done. The same creative team, an extension of the story,
without the crazy Christian.
Right. Right. Not just taking hey, Road Warrior was a good movie, but the quality of the video and some of these actors. I mean, I don't know. We could do this way better now. We could throw $20 million, $200 million, however many dollars at it, and make something that looks way slicker than that. If that's your starting point from a reboot, then you're probably going to have a shitty product. Right. I have my fingers crossed, but the Godzilla versus King Kong shit that they're talking about too.
Right.
I mean, there's no reason for that to exist other than we just want to see Godzilla and King Kong fight again.
They need to stop with the Godzilla stuff, man.
Yeah, they haven't made any successful Godzillas.
Do you remember the one? Let Japan take back over Godzilla. Stop it, America. Cut it out. I mean, it's just, it doesn't, I don't care. You could throw Bryan Cranston in there. You could throw
Life will find
Ferris Bueller. It doesn't work.
I've seen them all and enjoyed them on some level, but they're just throwaway movies.
Yeah.
But honestly, the last Godzilla film, if you just cut all the people out of it, I would have sat there for 45 minutes. I would have paid $10 to go watch 45 minutes of that Godzilla.
Yeah. No, I feel
if you just cut all the people out of it and just give me a story about, if they do this right, they could do it without any actors.
Right, exactly.
It's possible.
So you were talking about Star Wars for a second.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't? Okay, it's done. We're not even going to segue to that.
Oh, there's been so much Star Wars. There's been so much Star Wars talk. Maybe next hour.
Maybe, okay.
No, because there are some topical things that I want to cover, though, because everybody has seen, or at least if not seen, heard of the video of the officer pulling a high school student from her chair and throwing her across the room. You guys know this one?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
In South Carolina. What was it again? It wasn't Sweet Valley High. Spring Valley High.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Spring Valley High. Here's the story. Let's start with this, right? The girl's in class, is talking on her phone. I believe she actually, takes a phone call while she's in class. Teacher tells her to get off the phone and to hand it over. She says, no, I wasn't doing anything wrong. All right? So then he asks her to leave the class because she's not complying. She refuses to leave and steadfast, I was not doing anything wrong. There was a teacher's assistant that got involved or some assistant principal or something, then the principal, and then finally the officer. He was an actual officer, but he works basically security for the school.
Right.
The school has its own cop, an actual deputized cop.
My school did too.
Really?
Hooray for me. Yeah. Liaison officer.
A lot of schools do anymore.
So the cop comes in and asks her to stand up and come with him, and she refuses. And there were some reports that she might have actually slugged him, although it might have been only after the cop put his hands on her that she kind of took a swipe at him. But, I mean, it's fucking, 16, 17-year-old girl?
Yeah.
So it's not like she's going to do any damage.
Right.
But when she refused to comply, he practically, just lifts her and the desk up completely, pulls her out, and tosses her across the room, and then proceeds to, do the normal cop thing, put his knee in your back.
Right.
Grab your arm.
Totally appropriate response.
Totally appropriate response.
I don't know. I think she had 3 chances.
Right. Sure.
I think she had 3 chances to be treated like a human being. And if you're going to sit there and be an obstinate asshole, then you get to be treated like an obstinate asshole. Age and race regardless.
Why was the officer involved?
She wasn't screaming in the video.
No.
Well, teacher asked. Teacher asked. Teacher said, hey, don't take the phone call. No. Hey, leave the classroom if you take the phone call. No. All right, let's get the liaison officer in here. Hey, stand up. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's still not an appropriate response no matter what. I mean, they could have been. If I were the teacher or the ones in charge, I'd be like, okay, fine, you want to stay there? Just don't come back tomorrow. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, that's like saying, hey, I told you 3 times, so I get to shoot you in the head now.
Okay.
It's just not an appropriate response.
He didn't do nightstick. They could have done that. Whap. Yeah, I mean, he could have done that.
Sure, he could have done a lot worse things, but why is he...
Could have urinated on her. But
what is the officer there for?
That video would have been posted on a completely different site if that had happened.
Wait, why? Let's start with this. Why does this school have an officer or security liaison or whatever the fuck you want to call it? They have a deputized person with a gun and a badge.
Because teenagers are fucking unruly, and parents nowadays don't parent.
That's why do you think they have one?
That's where they were at my high school.
Why do you think they have one there?
Security.
Right.
Okay.
Right? When shit gets out of hand. I'm not saying that students can't be violent or possibly bring weapons or cause fights that could, I mean, a teenager's like fully grown, their punches can do just as much damage as any adult. You know, when shit really goes down, to handle an obstinate student, I don't think that's why the officer was.
I think a lot of times
in the first place,
the school is the only person holding these kids accountable for anything in life.
Okay.
In a lot of these situations, you go home, mom and dad don't give first. Well,
so we need officers in the schools to parent.
No, I'm just saying I'm talking about the schools in general. The only place these kids are being held accountable for anything they do in their lives are at the schools, whether it's by the liaison officer, the principals, the teachers.
But what we're arguing here is
whether you're asking why the cop's there. I'm trying to give you some insight into that.
Yeah, but I don't agree with that. I mean, why is the cop...
Give somebody no rules for 18 hours a day and then try to give them rules for 6.
Sure.
And then get them all together in a group.
I bet you that this person who was... this student wasn't properly parented. And I'm just judging that based on the reaction from the situation. It doesn't sound like this is somebody who has a good...
upbringing?
No, doesn't have a good concept of...
one to not be an asshole?
Right, yes, thank you.
Almost feral.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Right. But what we're talking about here is, was the action of this cop appropriate? We know that her actions weren't appropriate. Mm-hmm. We understand that. Why does it have to be that the person has to be manhandled and cuffed and taken out of the classroom if the teachers don't know how to talk to them?
Well, they were told to leave. They were given the option to leave under their own power and refused.
Okay.
So he couldn't have put his hands, like, put one hand on her arm, one hand under her armpit, lifted her up, and been like walked her out.
He shouldn't have.
He had to fucking WWF her ass onto the ground.
Right.
I think either way, we'd still be talking about it because then it's
it's because we live in a litigious society. Of course, he put his hands on her. That's going to be a problem right there.
Put his hands on her and.
But here, let me tell you something. When we were kids, if a fight broke out, you guys had to have seen it. Did teachers not put their hands on students and no one got sued?
Correct.
Well, okay, so to skip ahead a little bit, the guy's been fired. He was put on. He was suspended. There was going to be a federal investigation. There still might be. I don't know if his firing changes that aspect at all. But the FBI is getting involved in this, and the guy has now since not just been suspended, but he is no longer an officer of the law because his superiors looked at the tape and said that's not reasonable behavior for that situation. That guy did not handle himself correctly. And I agree with Rich. There are definitely other ways where he could have gotten her out of the classroom and not caused as much ruckus or been so forceful.
A trail of Reese's Pieces.
There's also but what I believe is officers shouldn't have been involved in the first place.
Well, okay,
period.
but think
this
of
is
it this
not
way.
a situation that it should have elevated to the point where
it's not a safety issue.
We need somebody to come in. Right, it's not a safety issue.
It's the wrong application of force.
Okay, think of it this way. When you have a nonviolent protest, such as sit-in or something like that, we used to see videos of this from back in the day. Cops would just come up. I mean, if the person is not fighting you, you just lift them up and move them. He could have charged her with anything he wanted to come up with. Resisting arrest, ignoring a lawful order, whatever the fuck. And he could have instead, it went from 0 to 100
Right. That's the problem. 0 to
And
100.
he was
you're
waiting
right.
for. I'm sorry. I think truly this guy was waiting for it.
This also isn't the first time that he's used force. And he actually, gosh, I wish I could remember it. I wonder if it's in my notes, but he has a nickname among the students that implies that he is usually more physical than he needs to be. Something like Officer Shove or something like that. Something stupid.
And his name is John Cena? Yeah, okay. Well, fucking...
Right. Okay, let me throw this story on you, all right? I know this isn't exactly the same thing, but it just so happens that my son was suspended from school today. My son is 12 years old. Not in high school yet, but getting pretty close to that age. He had an altercation with some... he was having a bad day, just wanted to be left alone, which just prompted other kids to prod him even more. I wasn't there, but you know how kids are in at that age too. They're really dramatic.
Prison rules apply. If they find the weakness, they pick at it till you snap.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been him like dramatically entering the classroom and being like, "Listen, nobody talk to me or look me in the eye. I'm having a horrible day," which just is going to set people off.
Well, let's see if we can make it worse.
But you know how it goes. The more you stand out as, not liking a certain thing, then people are just going to use that as leverage against you. So he was continually pestered until he lashed out physically and took a stab at another student with a pencil. He got suspended for a day for that. But that's not where the problem ended. He was taken aside. He was talked to one-on-one with his teacher. He was asked to leave the classroom, and he refused.
Oh.
He was asked to leave the classroom and refused.
Sounds familiar.
Just the teacher wanted him to step out in the hallway so they could talk one-to-one. He didn't want to leave. What did the teacher do? Said, all right, this is interrupting everybody's day anyway. Everybody else leave the classroom. And we can have a discussion amongst ourselves.
Right.
Just the teacher and my son.
And
right?
that right there,
it didn't solve everything.
No.
And the next step was to try and get him over to the counselor, which he talked to he didn't talk to the counselor. He sat in the counselor's office for a half hour and refused to speak, and then said, "There, I did it."
He's well aware of his rights.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you more ammo, bitch.
Right.
Don't you think in a weird way your teacher taught him the world will bend to your will if you're just stubborn enough?
I completely sympathize with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't completely agree with it, but that is where I go. Because
he's still not getting his way though.
Like
he's
in 20 years in the working world, your boss isn't going to do that. Your boss is just going to say you're fucking fired. Please leave.
Well, but what's the message to this girl in Sweet Valley High?
Yeah,
who was wrestled out of her chair. And then videos were taken and posted everywhere, and this guy lost his job. Her message, she comes away with the message of, well, I can still do whatever I want, and even if it escalates to the point where somebody is actually going to try and fuck with me and pick me up and take me out of here, they're going to lose their job.
I used to work.
Right?
I used to work for the public school system, and I also used to work for. I already told you about this.
You've had a lot of experience dealing with obstinate students.
The same exact situation happened many times, and for I used to also work for the Children's Home of Detroit too, and we were not allowed to. We were taught physical management, but we were not allowed to use that unless somebody was in danger.
Right.
And in a situation like that, nobody was in danger. And one of the things they would teach us to do, if they won't leave, because that was a very common thing when people get combative, they stay where they're at. They don't move.
Right.
Move the rest of the people around them. Get them out of there. They're not getting their way then because they're not part of the group anymore. They're not being included. So that's what happens there. But the kids also knew that if they could piss you off enough, they could be enough of an asshole that sometimes that person's going to take the initiative to tackle them and they lose their job.
Right.
Because there's going to be a write-up. There's going to be an explanation saying, so why did you...
why did it come to this?
Why did it come to this?
Yeah.
Well, they were making fun of my mother, or they were, stealing or putting holes in the wall. Well, okay, they're punching holes in the wall, but how does that harm anybody? That's one of those things,
harms them. Harms their knuckles.
Well, still, I mean, you have to be appropriate with force. And even if you were to go and pick somebody up physically, that's still assault. Yeah. Once you touch somebody, it's assault. And that's the problem that we have.
Real quick, Eric, how long ago was this, would you say?
I actually stopped working for them 5 years ago, and since then, a lot of my friends are teachers. They've actually gotten rid of physical management completely.
At Children's Home of Detroit.
Oh, Children's Home of Detroit. I worked there. They're gone. They're closed. They don't exist anymore because of those practices.
Right.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I was there as a kid. That's what I was going to say. Is there was no, we didn't get touched. That's what's hard for me. I have a hard time because we knew if we pushed, the staff would take us down in a heartbeat. Now you got to remember, this is like 93. Okay, and when that knowledge is there, you behave accordingly, unless you're looking for some shit. And because we did have kids in there. Mm-hmm. I mean, we weren't kids. We were 16, 17. We weren't little kids.
Those were the ones I worked with too. So
yeah, and I mean, they could take some of them guys could take the staff one-on-one.
Right.
And that was just all there was to it. I mean, these are not kids that come from, nice backgrounds. I mean, I hate to say it, but, peace through superior firepower. We knew if you take it to this level, and I mean, I don't know the general size of your size. I'm not in the same room with you, but these were some big staff members.
And some of these kids, though, I mean, obviously, you'd have a 6-7 foot kid that's 300 pounds.
Yeah,
I mean, I got between two kids like that one time. I was out for a couple days. That's what happens. Right. But the problem that we had, and you saw order in this because there was a precedence that was set. The problem that we had was we had a broken system that was bent to the favor of the people in power, and that's what ended up happening was kids were getting beat and being thrown down staircases and stuff was getting covered up and stuff like that. That's why that didn't work. But also, we were at a time where the sensitivity level was high to where if there was something out of place like that, like a kid would say, well, he hit me or he touched me or something like that, and when they didn't, they were gone immediately. There was zero tolerance, and you weren't working with children anymore. So it was a very strange time. I think the pendulum was swung to an extent when you were there to where you saw some order out of it. But from when I was there was just a very strong abuse of power. So.
Well, look, all teenagers can be extremely obstinate, extremely passionate, extremely smart. Now, you're going to be a teacher. You're going to teach high school age kids. You've got to outsmart them and outmaneuver them.
You got to Michelle Pfeiffer it up.
That is part of your job. This teacher couldn't handle this situation without a simple situation. This started out as a very simple thing that I'm sure happens on a daily basis all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
Every high school student has a fucking phone.
Mm-hmm.
And those are an issue for every teacher. And this guy didn't know how to handle that situation without going to the next level. And that person didn't even know how to handle the situation without going to the next level. And so these people, these teachers, these administrators, they are incompetent. Mm-hmm. And that's their last resort. Oh, we're going to get your ass out of here one way or another, even if we have to call the guy with the gun to come and pick your ass up and take you out, because we don't know how to deal with you.
And they have no clue how to redirect, because redirection is the way to go in a situation like that.
Right.
Distraction, manipulation, that's how you work with kids.
Right.
And at the same time, prepare them for the real world.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Hey, you see how shit isn't fair and how you got manipulated and fucked over? Just get used to it.
Yeah. Guess what happens after you graduate? It goes on for the next 40 to 50 years. 60 for those of you who are getting C's right now.
So chomp on those carcinogens, ladies and gentlemen, and end it quick.
To me, when it comes to all this, it blows my mind. Why? Okay, and maybe it's because of where my daughter lives, but, there was no phones allowed. Like, what happened to that? What happened to if you flashed a phone and it got taken from you to the end of the day?
Right.
And if you made a bigger deal about it, they called your parents and said, come get this little shit.
Well,
know the rules. Why are you letting them bring a cell phone to school?
There should be no technology like that.
That might be their policy in this school, because,
obviously not, because the kid filming didn't get slammed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's also true.
And there's two videos. There's a video where the kid is filming from a little bit in front. I know I sound like I'm talking about the Zapruder film. He's filming a little bit from the front, and then there's another one where it's a little bit to the back and to the right of her. I really do sound like I'm talking about the Zapruder film.
That shot that's right underneath where you're seeing the whole thing going in and out.
There's another one. Someone's taking a selfie with it.
Right.
Someone's like, "What up?"
Yeah,
doing the shout out pose.
They put one of those body worn cams on her to capture it.
So we're only going to get one take. We're going to put as many cameras on this as we can.
No, but it was said when the officer came into the room And I wasn't clear if it was the student that was being harassed or I think maybe somebody else had said, shit's about to go down right now. Everybody get your phones out.
Yeah.
Because they knew that cop. If that cop has that reputation, they were like, shit. It's everybody get your popcorn.
Right.
Well, he's probably done it multiple times.
And this was the student calling their bluff.
Do I think his reaction was appropriate? No, but I keep defaulting to she was told 3 times.
The world's
she
full
won.
Yeah,
Chris, she won. She pressed the system and said, what are you really going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You can't do shit to me because you guys are weak. You guys have no ideas on how to control an unruly student other than call an officer and come in here and take me out forcibly and therefore lose his job. And she still wins in the end.
She'll probably even get a payday over it.
She's fucking laughing.
Yeah.
She didn't learn jack shit by being manhandled.
No, being an asshole won out in this case. See, that's what it is,
And now we're making a hero out of her, and it's just going to create more little assholes.
I'm not making a hero out of her at all.
I'm saying in general, not us personally.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's really trying to make a hero out of her. The question is...
I'll disagree with that one.
I want a T-shirt with her face on it. Oh, man. Oh.
Yeah, it's just create more little assholes.
Well, I mean...
All right. Well, let's move on.
Here's
another story for you.
Okay.
Now, oh boy.
Let's hear it.
This one, I'm going to give you the overview of the story because when I read it, I just broke down in tears. I couldn't take it. This was just a horrible, horrible story. This is a story about a poor girl, 5-year-old Juliana Snow, who has, what was the name of the disease she has? Charcot-Marie Tooth disease. It's a neurodegenerative illness. Mm-hmm. She's going through a number of issues, including the possible collapse of her lungs, because the part of her brain that controls the breathing is just going haywire. Now, her parents have talked to her about the possibility of dying and going to heaven. You have a terminally ill child who is likely to die in the near future. Okay, that's probably a good conversation to have. And heaven is certainly a good angle, a good spin, shall we say, to put on that.
Of course.
You want, and I'm sure they want to also believe that when their child dies that they will go on to a better place, right?
They should have been baptized.
The problem is to me, is how they are presenting this to their child, because they've given her the option of the next time that you fall ill in this manner and you go to the hospital, it's going to be palliative care. It's going to be making her comfortable until she eventually passes away. It's going to be a lot of feeding tubes and breathing masks and all this shit, and very poor quality of life, however long it is, all spent in the hospital. Versus staying at home with her family, dying earlier, and not suffering as much, possibly, and going to heaven, which they have told her her grandparents will already be there, and eventually she'll be joined by her brother, and her parents will all join her in heaven as well. Can a 5-year-old make this decision?
No. There's a reason you are legally in charge of their welfare and care until a certain age. They can't make these decisions. They don't have the wherewithal. Like the thing I thought of right at the end of that is they're just leading her down the path of what leads them to less medical bills. They're painting her.
Well, no, I mean they are very religious.
It seems they're painting her view of it to me. That she's 5. They know that she's gonna believe everything that they say because they're her parents and she trusts them and they have that parent-child. Like, to me, there's a special place in hell for these people if you believe in the concept of hell.
I don't think they mean it poorly, though. Like, it sounds like, to me, like, I don't know. I don't want my kid to know only pain, because when you can't rationalize things at that age, you'll only know pain. You don't know why it's happening to you. You don't know why that.
Aren't you supposed to take care of them? Isn't that letting them die? That's them. They're 5. They don't have the wherewithal to make that decision. Fucking 5.
Well, yeah, the decision, too, based on just some theory. I mean, I know that millions of people have believed this for thousands of years.
They won't let my 5-year-old nephew use the stove, and we're going to let...
I don't know. I think, bioethicist Art Kaplan was interviewed in this story that I read on Fox61.com. And he says... it doesn't sit well with me. It makes me nervous. I think a 4-year-old, because this all started when she was 4, a 4-year-old might be capable of deciding what music to hear or what picture book they might want to read, but there's a 0 chance of a 4-year-old can understand the concept of death. That kind of thinking doesn't really develop until around age 9 or 10.
There's some 4-year-olds that can't understand the concept of take a shit in the toilet, and we're going to put this decision on them? That's insane.
Yeah, no, I think that, I don't think it should be her decision, but I also don't think that her life should be prolonged like that. I just think the parents shouldn't even bring that up. If they don't, whatever they want to do, just do it, because
there's no parents' job to take care.
There's no
look
concept.
After the.
Well, that is looking at. They have very shitty choices.
Yeah,
it's not that they're not taking care of their kid. They're trying to decide the same way that many people experience towards the end of their life, whether it's from old age or sickness. They have to. Many people have to make the decision, and sometimes it's their family members making it for them.
Right.
Whether they want to be on a feeding tube, be on a respirator, be on some sort of life support, have 0 quality of life for however many months they can stretch that out, versus letting them die in a natural way.
But it's different when they're like 75 instead of 5.
But this disease here, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I'm hearing, it's not treated. It's not curable.
Right, there is no cure.
Yeah, so she's going to die no matter what. That's the problem. If it was something like, okay, she has cancer, she has a 70% chance of living, and she's 5, let's do it, man. Let's take it. No, she's just going to die a slow, painful death. So I mean, that's the part that bothers me about it. There's really no like turnaround from it. They have really bad choices here, but don't let the child choose.
Definitely talk to the child about it, and their input should be valuable.
Yeah,
their desire, but having them make the ultimate decision.
God no! I'm not trying to be derogatory here, but if you ask a 5-year-old what they should have for dinner every night, it should be ice cream. They get ice cream when they wake up every day.
She can have ice cream every day if she wants.
Child can, yes. But
there's also the fact that you're going to have a kid this young, and this kid one day might feel one way because the day's going well. The day goes poorly. This kid's going to feel a different way. To understand that, look, you're going to have good days, but ultimately it's going to end. To even try to explain that to adults that are in hospice care. Yeah. Some of them, whether it's the situation or they just don't have the cognitive ability to understand it, can't grasp that, can't comprehend it. And they just think, oh, you're going to make me comfortable, so I'm just going to go to sleep, and it's going to be like in the movies. And death does not look like that.
I might be more comfortable with it if it was just plainly an option of dying at home quickly or dying in a hospital slowly. Right. But it's not. They're stacking the deck by saying, oh, there's going to be heaven that you're going to go to, and there's going to be grandma and grandpa and that cat that got run over. Yeah. And you're going to every morning huge omelets. What was the Father Guido Sarducci? He describes the huge egg and the huge omelet that's made every day.
Yeah, you shouldn't use that as an end to it. I mean, no matter what, if that's what they believe, the end to it is there if she takes the fast way or the slow way.
Right.
So it doesn't make a difference no matter what. But they're making it look like the shorter option is the one to get there quicker. And that's the problem, I think, right? Is that the issue you're having?
I don't know what the issue I'm having.
It just pisses me off.
The issue is they're leaving a decision most adults can't make up to somebody who's been around for a whole half a decade. Someone just learned to tie their shoes several months ago, and they're dropping this in their lap. Possibly could not even still tie their shoes.
It's very likely.
Yeah.
Can't even read yet if they're in the public school system.
Well, this bioethicist Art Kaplan goes on to say, Juliana's parents shouldn't put any stock in what she has to say about end-of-life decisions. Maybe she chose heaven over the hospital because she feels how much her parents hate to see her suffer. Young children often pick up cues, I should say, from their parents and want to please them.
Yeah. She's gonna decide what she feels they want.
Right, and especially when you make heaven sound so fucking awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna go to heaven either way. It just depends on what road you're gonna take, my dear. So.
Or how about the greater conversation here of two adults going, we don't know. What do you think, 5-year-old?
Yeah.
And how dumb are parents going to be when they die and there's no heaven?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They're going to feel like assholes. But actually, they won't feel anything because they just won't be anything because they'll be dead.
It just got real dark.
I know. Because, like I said, this
oil for future generations.
This story tore me apart. I know that we're being very flip and we're talking about this not ever having to have faced a situation like this in real life. At least as far as I know, I haven't had to.
Right, yeah.
And who are we to judge what we would do in a situation? Yeah.
What you have to do
this is almost bordering on evil. That's the way I feel about this. The parents are right on the edge of evil. They really are.
Is this the ultimate coin flip?
They're trying to cope with it, but what they should really say to her is, do you remember before you're born what that was like?
And she'd say no.
It's going to be a lot like what's going to happen after you're gone.
Right.
You remember all that good time?
I'm going to stay home so I can crawl back inside mommy.
Oh. Well, this just goes back to what I've said for years and years. And people get offended or pissed off when I say it, but whatever. Oh well, they'll get over it. If this was, an animal, we wouldn't want it to suffer. But because it's a human, we make the humans cling on to, for that last breath, fight for it, and be miserable because there might be something after this that's going to judge us for if we just go, you know what, let's give her one good day. And let's let her go to sleep and then just not wake up.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, this is like you're saying is, I mean, it might be the right decision for the wrong reasons. So. Yeah,
it's the gray area that most people who have an IQ over room temperature understand we live in. And the problem is, it sounds like we're dealing with people who see the world as very black and white. And I remember a debate between a scientist and a pastor, and one of the questions posed to both of them was, what would make you change your mind about your beliefs? And the scientist said evidence, and the pastor said nothing. So right there, that's where these people are coming from. So
yeah, and any time that you use your faith to determine medical decisions that you make, you're in some stupid water territory there.
Right.
You're diving into the stupid pool.
Having had to sign a few DNRs in my lifetime and make decisions for someone who couldn't make them for themselves at that point, and this was an adult who I knew their wishes, that was rough enough. So it's a no-win situation. It is a Kobayashi Maru of suck. It's just what it is. There's no good way to go about it. There really isn't. I mean, honestly, if I was a person of faith and this was my kid, this would probably make me go, what in the fuck are you thinking, God?
Right.
And you can spare me that. Where was I when you created the world bullshit you pimped on Job? I don't give a fuck about that.
No, but you make the perfect point, though, Rich. I think you really summed this story up because none of this is really going to make that big of a difference to what happens at the end. Anyway, it's depressing. Let's move on. One more story before we wrap up today, because I enjoy e-cigarettes. Or Eric, you do at times too, and Rich.
Yeah, have some new liquid coming in the mail from a Michigan-made brand tomorrow.
Ooh. Well, the National Health Interview Survey by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention had a study of adults and teenagers and their usage of tobacco and e-cigarette products and all that. Here's what they find. E-cigarette use highest amongst young adults. So we may be old fucks, but we are hip because we are in the 4%. 4% of adults use some sort of, they say e-cigarette. I'm really thinking, that's a general term.
Yeah, mods count too.
Yeah. Right. Vaporizers.
Vaporizers, yeah.
Something that's not actually combusting. It's just vaporizing.
Right.
So, 4% of adults...
smoke from the water, right?
And more than 5% of those 18 to 24-year-olds say that they now use e-cigarettes, compared with just over 1% in people 65 and older. Well, how many people over the age of 60 are you going to... You're not going to wrestle away their Marlboros at that point.
I've seen it, though. It's really funny, too. I've seen, 60, 70-year-old people with big mods.
Can you Rich is in the background?
Yep.
Well, fuck it, man. This is what we're talking about.
48% of current smokers have tried an e-cigarette, and 1 in 6 currently use them in addition to smoking. Right. So for a lot of people, this is a combination. They smoke. It's like they do the cigarettes and when they're driving or when they can step out on the porch when they're at home. But, on their lunch break or something, they might have a vaporizer to keep them over or covertly puff away in their office like I do.
Right.
Not.
Yep. Me neither.
Well, What's interesting, though, is that this is seen as a problem, right? This rise of e-cigarettes. Electronic cigarettes are really the wild, wild west. That's according to... oh, damn it.
Really making the wrong people unhappy. Big tobacco and...
Uh-huh.
Oh, you can't regulate it, can't tax it, and we got a lot of money in that.
Which,
so.
by the way, what happened to just Wild West? Like, ever since Fresh Prince.
Oh, yeah, the Wild Wild West, right?
Yeah.
You can't say just one, it's too wild. Yeah.
Right. It's not the Wild West. It's the Wild Wild West. Why two wilds? It's like
sounds better in a rap song.
Right. It's like a perfect storm. It's one of those phrases I would just wish would go away already. Everything's the Wild Wild West.
Dude, there's no shades.
There's no federal oversight of e-cigarettes, even though the FDA has not found any e-cig to be safe or effective in helping smokers quit. And to our knowledge, no e-cigarette company has even applied to the FDA for approval as a smoking cessation product.
They don't have to.
Right, because it's not a smoking cessation product.
I don't see the FDA approval on Monster or Red Bull either. No one's writing an article about them.
The real takeaway message is that the people who are most likely to use e-cigarettes are our most vulnerable adults, the young current smokers, and those who have recently quit or are trying to quit. So just as we're seeing traditional cigarette use decline after years of FDA regulation and state smoke-free policies and taxation, now we're seeing the tobacco industry continue its narrative of aggressively marketing e-cigarettes to younger people in hopes of developing a whole new lifelong user.
Okay, real quick, are you getting this story from NPR?
No.
Okay, because NPR reported it as most e-cigarette users are current or ex-smokers, and they're not newbies. Only 10% of people who vape fucking just started with that.
I think these loose statistics change depending on the point of view of the person talking about it too. That's what's crazy about this. It is the wild, wild west when it comes to it.
Well, because I've talked to actual doctors, who have said that's great. Yeah, go ahead and vaporize.
Medical doctors.
Yes, medical doctors.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because they're not just grabbing people off the streets and saying, "Hey, do you vape?"
Right.
Well, why not? It's healthy for you. No, this is. You're lighting something on fire and inhaling the smoke. Maybe vaporizing it would cause less carcinogens, and you will be healthier and live longer. So it's a step in the right direction. And this idea,
this is the smoking version of throwing a rubber on before you have sex.
Exactly. Who does that anyway? Right.
It's less. Yeah, I know. If you don't trust the pussy, what are you fucking the
People
pussy
under
for?
30.
What are you trying to prove here?
Yeah.
But no, it's less harmful. Of course, you still get nicotine and everything that comes with it, but you also get lower doses of nicotine because you can control the percentage of nicotine in your liquid.
You're not going outside and smoking the entire cigarette at your lunch break. And you can just take 1 or 2 puffs and walk back in.
Right, and also, I don't think that
point.
I don't think that people have a full understanding of what an e-cigarette is. Like we were talking about, there's Blue or whatever brand that you can go and just pick off the shelf and it's ready to go. It's got the battery all charged up and you just puff away until the thing dies and then you chuck it.
Or they're starting to make them rechargeable though because they're trying to keep up with
the Blues
mod group.
Yeah, the Blues are rechargeable, but then there's many other people, and from what I've seen, this is the majority of people who are vaporizing in some form that are getting the little, like, call it whatever you want, an e-hookah or something, that, you know, a little container that has a coil in it, and you fill it up with liquid that, you know, in my case is made by some company here in Michigan called Mr. E Liquid. It's
same place I'm getting my liquid from tomorrow.
Yeah, dude, Mr. E Liquid is the shit, and it's all natural. It's made with vegetable oil and shit, and it's a million times better than a cigarette. And it's not made by Philip Morris. Thinking that it's not made by Marlboro, right? Mm-hmm. It's not. This isn't the electronic version of Cools that I'm smoking,
right?
So this idea of like it's just the concrete thinking of they're exhaling something that looks like smoke. They're doing something bad, and we should look out for their best interests and get ahead of this and reduce this because it has to be causing harm.
Right. Did you hear about what's going on in New York with their e-cig ban?
No.
Well, in New York, it's now illegal to smoke, vaporize in public because they feel like, let me see, I pulled it up. Governor Andrew Cuomo went what is it? He put in his budget to ban e-cigarettes, and they've already done this. And his reasoning for this is that it glorifies smoking.
Right.
So not that it is harmful in itself. It's just that it puts a light on smoking to make it popular, so they need to get rid of it completely so we don't see it or hear it.
This goes... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just completely ridiculous that they would go that far to address the problem in this way, if there is a problem at all.
Well, this just reminds me of when here in Michigan they passed the smoking ban in bars. Right. Basically, the only place you could smoke indoors before the ban was a bar for people who don't live in Michigan.
Right.
And they come out and they said secondhand smoke, and health. And then someone finally got the bright idea to stand up and go, excuse me, there ain't nothing fucking healthy going on at a bar at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So you can shut the fuck up about that. All right, so then it was, well, then it makes our clothes stink, and us non-smokers have to deal with it.
Third-hand smoke.
Yeah. And so they come up with all this shit. All right, cool, fine. So then vaporizers, which have been around, I believe the first one was built in the 60s, but potheads have been vaporizing weed for fucking at least 15, 20 years.
Yeah, the first vaporizer I ever saw was like the size of like this coffee pot.
Yeah, the volcano.
It was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, so they just said, okay, well, fuck it. If we can do it with herb, we can do it with fucking nicotine. And then it was, well, you're trying to sidestep the law, so we have to ban that. You can't smoke them indoors.
We're going around, so we because to exercise our rights and our habits and the things that we like, and it's not acceptable because it's glorifying.
This is like ridiculous. If we took a 24-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola, emptied it, filled it with water and some food coloring to make it look exactly like Coca-Cola, but it was just water, and went around the streets of New York drinking it.
Right. Yeah.
This is bad. Well, it's not. I'm not drinking soda. Yeah, but you're glorifying soda drinking. Right. Everybody else thinks that you're doing something bad, and they're going to try and do something bad too.
It's absolutely
babysitting us. God damn it.
Fun governors. I don't like the way you're having fun.
Don't you think our forefathers' tri-cornered hats would be spinning around?
Yeah.
If they actually saw what was going on now?
It's like taxing sugary drinks. That's another thing, too. Yeah. It's like,
which
don't tell me what I can drink and what I can consume. I can figure that out on my own. I'm an adult.
And maybe I want to die. And maybe I choose to die by sugar or processed meats or smoke.
Like partying age, you're fucked. There's nothing going on in this country anymore. It's done. Last call. It's just a suck generation. It's the most boring fucking generation in the history of people. It's all dumbed down and watered. When's the last time you heard stories about rock and roll bands chucking TVs out of hotel windows or any of that shit that...
By the way, Eric, you want to start a band called Third Hand Smokers?
Oh, I like it, yeah.
Right now, so this will be useless by the time this airs, but HR 2058, that's House Resolution 2058, there's a big call in the vaping community for people to get on the phone or email their representative, because apparently the FDA is trying to backdoor a way in to basically ban about 99% of anything that doesn't come from big tobacco as far as vaping.
Oh, yeah, it's because they're being paid. That's incredible.
Yep.
This call your congressman horse shit don't work. Get out your checkbook to your congressman. That might work.
All this open source we have in our life.
Sure, you got a couple million that we could use for this cause laying around.
Oh, so everybody writes a check for $50.
Well, all I know is I look forward to the days when we were going to meet in back alleys and exchange, like, same time, I don't know you, like $50 for 10 milliliters.
Is this going to be ironic that marijuana might be more legal than vaping at some point in this country?
I could go down this, I'll be able to go down the street and buy marijuana with a credit card.
Yeah.
From a guy who pays taxes and everything, and to get some e-juice, I'm going to have to meet some guy in an alley. I'm going to have to meet him in the Taco Bell parking lot.
You're going to suck his dick for vape juice and buy your weed at the store. That's incredible. Wow.
What a world.
Backwards land.
All right.
On that note,
let's wrap it up.
We're going to wrap it up. Wrap this bitch up in a bow. put a stamp on it, ship it. It's done.
Boy, we worked hard today, huh?
Yeah, working hard.
Hard-working podcast.
The hardest working podcast in
I
this room.
I got a picture of Adam Carolla on my wall to remind me of how hard we're working.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody who has listened, who has downloaded. Tell your friends. Tell everybody. If you like podcasts, you think this is good, please go on to iTunes, write us a review, rate us, all that happy horseshit. Thanks to Eric.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks
I had a
for
great
joining
time.
us.
You guys are a lot of fun.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you on Monday.
See you next time.
Monday.
If you enjoy this show and want more people to know about it, head on over to iTunes, leave a comment, and rate it 5 stars. Make sure you like and share us on Facebook, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Just search for Christopher Media. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Most importantly, we would like to take the time to extend an extra special thanks to you. Christopher Media could not exist without your support. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. Thank you for visiting Christopher Media.